Joining us now, Morgan Griffith, Congressman, Southwest Virginia. He represents Radford, Blacksburg, all that good stuff from Salem. And he is with us now, Republican District in Virginia. Congressman, great to have you.
It's good to be with you.
So, Congressman Griffith, I know you were glued to the television set last night. Give us your assessment of the president's first Oval Office address.
Well, I thought he did a very nice job. He laid out the facts. He, stated his position and made it clear that, yes, he's willing to fight for America, but the reason that we cannot reopen the government is that the Democrats aren't willing to let us spend some money on a border security system that works, and that would be a wall, a fence, whatever you want to call it. And I've always, as you know from previous interviews, said the wall can be a lot of different things, but we've got to secure our southern border. Now, all of a sudden, the Democrats say, well, let's open the government, and then we'll talk about it. We've been talking about this for years, decades, as your previous guest said. But in reality, even last summer, on the very bills we're debating now, we had discussions about this. The Democrats didn't say, oh, let's get this worked out. No, they said, we're not going to work with you. That's why we're in this shutdown now. They work with you. And the president said, I'm going to defend the American people. That is the oath he took, and he said he would do that job to the end. And I think that's what he needed to say last night. And that's the problem. And if the Democrats want to negotiate, we're already willing and able to negotiate to come up with something reasonable. The president's already added in some things, which I agree with, that the Democrats said were important to them. More judges to speed up the process. I agree with that. Down the border for those who are claiming asylum. More housing so that we can keep those people while they're waiting to have their case adjudicated in some place that's safe and clean, and instead of, being victims of the coyotes. I agree with that. If the Democrats want us to do more on border security, we're for it. Bring us your plan. Instead, all they say is we will discuss it later if you give us what we want today.
I think that's spot on, Congressman Griffith. No one has said that better than you just laid it out. Give us a plan. And also, like you said, the president's just not asking for a wall or for funding for a barrier. He's asking for a comprehensive funding plan in order to do a lot of different things to secure the southern border of the United States, which includes housing on the other side as they wait for their asylum applications to go through or whatever they're doing. So all of that, but like you said, the Democrats have no plan. They don't want a plan because they don't want to secure the border. And so their argument is open the government and then we'll negotiate. What does that mean? They'll negotiate for the next, 3 decades? I mean, the fact that 800,000 people are not getting a paycheck is what creates the sense of urgency to get something done. Because, look, the Democrats and the Republicans, you guys are both complicit, have put this off for years, right? We debate it, we put it off. There's a gang of 8, there's a gang of 6, gang of 10. It's all amnesty and this. Nobody's ever addressed it until Trump came along. Both parties are complicit. And now there's a sense of urgency. There's a sense of urgency because the government is closed, and there's a sense of urgency because we have a crisis. So the question is, solve it. And I don't know what else the president can do, Congressman. He's got meetings today with all of the leaders. They call it the Big 8 or whatever. He's got all the leaders in again today. He's going to the Senate, I think, today, or to the Capitol. I mean, what else can this president do? Why don't they just come to the table, the Democrats, and have a legitimate dialogue on how to solve this?
Absolutely, and put on the table what you want. Some of your listeners won't like it, but if they put on the table that, we want A, B, and C for securing the border, and we'll include your money for the wall, but we want to take care of the dreamers, then the only caveat I would have with that is we've got to take care of those folks who came here legally who can't get citizenship because of the quotas that Ted Kennedy instituted in the 1960s. They want to be citizens, they just can't get in. Those children grew up here just like the dreamers, but they came here legally. They consider America and the United States to be their home, but they came here legally, and they ought to be taken care of too. But if the Democrats put that on the table, I think we could probably work with that even. But they won't put that on the table because they're afraid we'll say yes. The Democrats, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, are afraid of yes. All they've got to do is ask for it and agree to secure the border, and we are likely to say yes.
I have to jot that down, Congressman. That is a quote of the day. Schumer and Pelosi are afraid of yes. That's what they're afraid of. And why are they afraid of it? Why are they afraid that if there is a legitimate compromise, and they can get things that they've been talking about, like a pathway to citizenship for DACA, taking care of the kids who did come here legally, why are they afraid of that and secure the border at the same time? What is the basis of their fear?
I think it's Trump phobia. I think that their base has gotten so worked up, and the media's got everybody into a froth, and that they can't be seen as working with Trump. I mean, that's my opinion. I know that you think it's all about the votes, and I'm sure that's a part of it, but I really believe that they're afraid that their far left base will accuse them of having worked with Trump, and they cannot operate because of that, and that's a shame.
I think you're onto something there, because some of the people in the White House are saying that basically Pelosi is now a slave to the far left progressive wing of her party, which she was not beholden to in 2007 when she came in, when the Democrats ousted the Republicans in the 2006 midterms. She was not a slave then, she is now. And so a lot of people are saying that is exactly what the problem is, that she can't really do anything because she's afraid of a revolt on the left. That puts her in a precarious position. I don't know how you do that and actually govern anything.
Well, I don't either. And I jokingly suggested to leadership that perhaps we should go on the floor and nominate the gentlelady from New York, Alexandria, and I'm sure I'm going to mess up the name, Ocasio-Cortez, to be the speaker, because she is in fact, or that wing of the party is in fact in control of the majority party in the House, and it's really not Nancy Pelosi. She's really not in control, and so she's having some difficulties.
That is a great suggestion, because, look, Nancy Pelosi didn't get 20 minutes on 60 Minutes Sunday night. Alexander Ocasio-Cortez did. And the chairman of the Democratic Party nationally, Tom Perez, said that she represents the future of the party. Look, he's the chairman. That's his view, but you got to take what he says in a serious manner. How does this get resolved, Congressman?
Well, I think the Democrats have to figure out what it is they want, and then put it on the table. And we have to figure out whether or not what they're asking for is rational and makes sense for the American people as a whole. And if it does, then we can work it out. If not, then they're going to have to feel the pressure and eventually just say, we don't like it, but we're going to give this small amount of money to the president because, we have to get the government open. And I think they could get more done. I think we could all get more done for the American people if they would just realize that we can do some of the things they want and they can do some of the things we want. That's what negotiation is about. But up to this point, they have not even been willing to negotiate. We are sending the vice president over to negotiate with senior staffers because the Senate and the House leadership of the Democrat Party is not willing to sit down and truly negotiate. Now they're going to go over and they'll do the meeting today, but the real work gets done behind the scenes, and we need Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to sit down with the vice president and the president and iron this thing out, but they're not willing to do it. I don't believe yet. We'll see.
That is kind of a stunning development. On Monday, I think it was Monday afternoon, the president was there, Vice President Pence was there, Secretary Nielsen, Jared Kushner, among many, many others on their senior staff. And that's what the president said. He said, look, because I was right there, was 2 seats from him. And he said, I dispatched the vice president on Sunday to meet with Democratic senior staff. This is how serious we are. This is unprecedented that a vice president would go and meet with staff people. This is how serious we are in trying to bring this to get a resolution. And we got nowhere. Basically, they said, we're not going to talk to you until you reopen the government, which they're not going to do. So I want to get back to what you said. And by the way, we're with Republican Congressman Morgan Griffith. He represents the 9th District of Virginia. That's a pretty conservative area. It's pretty red. Congressman, though, what you said earlier was fascinating to me. You said that Pelosi and Schumer are afraid of yes. So what an opportunity they've got to get some things that they've been asking for, like DACA for a long time. And I agree with you. I think if they put that on the table for $5 million, I think there would probably be a way forward. But, they don't even want to do that. And remember, 2 years ago, they were going crazy over DACA, right? They went ballistic over it. And now, where they could probably get it done, now these kids, and remember they kept saying, the kids, the kids, the kids. Now they don't matter, I guess, because it's not politically expedient for them. Isn't that correct?
I believe that is correct. I mean, it was just a year ago that they shut the government down trying to fight for DACA, and now that it's not even on the table. Apparently, they're not discussing it.
Yeah, because it's not politically expedient. So the whole kids thing was just another political ploy. That is the problem. They have the credibility of this issue because they shut the government down a year ago over DACA, and it was, we have to take care of the kids. Now they can take care of the kids for $5 billion for a fence. It's nothing compared to what the total and a $0.2 trillion budget is. Now they can do it, and that's off the table because that's now not politically expedient for them. I mean, the hypocrisy is beyond the pale, don't you think?
I would have to say yes, that it is. It's perplexing. At the very least, it's perplexing as to why things shifted, and as we discussed previously, I think that's because of the hard shift to the socialist left in the Democrat Party and the Democrat caucus in the House, and I think that they're afraid of getting to a yes.
I really think you nailed it. They don't know what to do if the president and his team actually is willing to negotiate some of the things that they want in order to resolve this crisis, get the government back open, and go forward. Go forward in governing. I mean, they have a majority, but the majority is not just, they got elected to resist, but now you have to govern. And they're still in the resistance mode. I don't know exactly what they're resisting, but I think you're right. And I also love the idea, you're the man of great ideas today, Congressman, that you should go back on the floor and nominate Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez for Speaker because she's basically calling the shots. So you might as well get her in there and give her the title, right?
We won't get that chance anytime soon, but maybe in the not-too-distant future. And then the American people can see exactly what the Democrat Party stands for today.
All right, let's shift gears. So the president says he's getting out of Syria campaign promise. Democrats don't like it, even though in 2006 they ran on getting out of these wars. Now they're running on staying in them because Trump wants to get out. So, goes back to what you said, Trump derangement syndrome. But now you got John Bolton running around, going to Israel, going to Turkey, unwinding what the president said. What do you make of this mess?
Well, you have to be a true lover of wordsmithing, and what I've seen him say is that we're not going to leave until ISIS is smashed. The president's position is ISIS is smashed, so I'm not sure that there's a contradiction there. It's just a different way of saying it. We should do that the president is in a rash way, and that we are going to, pull out, but that we're going to do it in a way that makes sure that ISIS doesn't come back.
All right, Congressman Rod Rothenstein announcing today, the Deputy Attorney General, that once Attorney General nominee Barr is confirmed by the Senate, and he will be, no reason that he wouldn't, he's already been the Attorney General, once he's confirmed that he's out. Good move or bad move?
It depends on how you're looking at it. From Rosenstein's standpoint, I think it's a good move. Barr is a no-nonsense, very capable individual. He's been there before. He won't fall for any of this is the way we do things because he's done it before. Mm-hmm. And so as a leader, I think he's a good choice by the president, and I think Rosenstein knows that that his days would be numbered in that underbar anyway. So why not go ahead and get out, and he can claim to be the hero.
So he gets out. Not a fan of his. I don't trust him. I don't like him. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. I'm not a fan, and I can't wait till he leaves, and he's been a real never Trumper and a real problem there. You really get back to, it was Rothenstein's letter to the president that recommended that the president fire James Comey. The president then took his letter, fired James Comey. Rothenstein then took Mueller in to meet the president to get hired as FBI director. President didn't like him in the meeting, didn't want to hire a retread, said no. Next day, Rothenstein then names Mueller special prosecutor after Sessions recuses himself. For the life of me, I never could understand why the legacy media didn't really flush that story out. I mean, it was Rothenstein that sent the letter to the president to fire Comey, and then he names the special prosecutor because the president fired Comey. Why has this never been reported on the front page of the Times? Why is it in the back page?
Yeah. It should have been reported in 30 years ago. It would have been reported today.
Now we have the fake news media, the legacy media. Congressman Morgan Griffith, we're out of time. I want to thank you for being with us today and giving your perspective on the president's speech and the Pelosi-Schumer response. And you have been an absolute treasure chest of one-liners and ideas, the best one being the Democrats are afraid of yes. I love that. Congressman, thanks for being with us. I'll see you in a couple weeks in Southwest Virginia, God willing.
Looking forward to it.